something which is very, very important about Stalin's scheme for women. Now, as it turns out, it's not been easy, particularly in post-COVID world, to deliver on promises made by two political parties, and I'm speaking particularly in the context of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in South India. Let's not forget that both Siddaramaiah and Stalin have bitterly criticized Modi's reference to them as Revdis. Let's first look at Karnataka, where amongst other welfare schemes, Annabhagya, which promised 5 kgs of rice to all, has now been rolled out as cash transfers.
Guarantee number 3, Annabhagya, 10 kgs of rice per person per month to BPL families. With Annabhagya, we will ensure that not a single person in Karnataka goes to sleep hungry.
So, instead of rice, starting today, the Siddaramaiah government will transfer rupees 34 per kg of rice, which amounts to 170 rupees per month per person. But
so, Antyodaya card holders per rate, 10 kg per rate to all PPL card holders and also APL card holders. Although that will come into effect from 1st July 2023.
He said 1st July, that date has gone. Today is the 10th of July, and instead of rice, under the Annabhagya scheme, everyone is getting money. You know what? Wish we could all eat money instead of grains. Life would be simpler, don't you agree? Now, let's turn our attention to Tamil Nadu, a state which has been the pioneer so far as welfare schemes are concerned. The midday meals for school children, free sari and rice and grinder and television sets to families, free gold for weddings of girls in families, and one can go on and on. But then let's do a reality check. It's now been 2 years of Stalin's government. And how many poll promises has the Dravida Munnestra Kazhagam government fulfilled? Stalin has, of course, implemented 3 poll pitches perfectly well. Free bus travel for women, cutbacks in milk prices and state taxes on petrol, though the promised rollback in diesel prices was withheld. But others, like 1,000 rupees allowance for housewives, was not only delayed, but it is extremely complicated as well. I've been speaking to several women and they say, we do not know the method to this madness. It's now out. Women heads of families who completed 21 years of age or were born before 15th of September 2002 can apply for Kalaignar, Magalir, Urimai, Thittam, which means Kalaignar's Women Entitlement Scheme, which would offer monthly assistance of 1,000 rupees. Each PDS card is counted as a family and only one member of the card is entitled to avail the aid. So far, so good. The story is looking good. But now look at your screens for the eligibility criteria. The Kalaignar Women's Entitlement Scheme, as it were. Look at all the eligibility. This is annual income less than 2.5 lakhs. Owns less than 5 acres of wetland and 10 acres of dryland. Annual domestic power consumption should be less than 3,600 units. Family eligible if member receives disability maintenance allowance. So, these are the eligibility of who all can actually avail of this. That is what the thing is. The government has allocated 7,000 crores for the scheme. Now, the government anticipates 1.5 crore applicant scheme to roll out on 15th of September. A state level monitoring committee is also in place, led by the Chief Secretary, to be constituted to benefit 1 crore women. But in all this, it's very important to understand the financial health of Tamil Nadu. This is very, very important. The revenue deficit in 23-24 is estimated to be 37,540 crores, which is 1.3% of GSDP. On your screens right now, facts. In 22-23, the state is expected to observe a revenue deficit of 30,476 crores as per the revised estimates, which is lower than the budget estimate. So, fiscal deficit in 23-24 is targeted at 3.25% of GSDP, that is rupees 92,075 crores. In 22-23, as per the revised estimates, fiscal deficit is expected to be 3% of GSDP, lower than the budget estimate, which is 3.63% of GSDP. So, I have now given you the lay of the land. 1,000 rupees for Magalir, that is women. Fantastic news, but delayed by 2 years. Also, if you look at it, the eligibility criteria, because if you look at neighboring Karnataka, you know the story about Annabhagya, but even the other schemes, which is, Griha Lakshmi scheme, the eligibility criteria, it's all up there. But how do these women wade through, meander through that maze is a question. Let's now debate, to speak more on this. Salem Dharnidharan, spokesperson of the DMK, is joining us. Kasturi Shankar, who is an actress, activist and lawyer, is also with us, and S. Venkat Narayan, who is a senior journalist, is also joining us. And of course, we shall await Narayan Tirupati, who is Vice President of Bhajaka in Tamil Nadu. He shall join us in a bit. Let me first start with a woman, and that being Kasturi Shankar. Kasturi, it's been 2 years, and I'm saying that because if you look at the criteria, if we can have those graphics up, please, on the screen about who's eligible. 2.5 lakhs per annual, Kasturi. Even if if I'm a domestic worker, I could be making more than that. If I do 4 homes per day, if you look at it monthly and then multiplied, it is like delayed inordinately. Would you agree? That is point number 1. And point number 2 is that the eligibility criteria, who is eligible, how do we meander through the maze? Don't you think it's really very complicated?
Usually they say justice delayed is justice denied. In this case, I'm going to say injustice delayed is injustice still not denied, because what has happened with this scheme is, on paper, when it was an electoral promise, it looked very attractive. It was very attractive to the women. Usually women stand by the side of the ADMK and Amma Jayalalitha's memory, but they all voted for DMK this time en masse because they were promised a very well-deserved 1,000 rupee relief every month. But it has not happened for the last 2 years. And now, when it is actually being rolled out, it is almost as good as being denied anyway. Because out of the 3.5 to 4 crore women of Tamil Nadu, 50% are already gone because of income limits. 50%, another 25% will not qualify because of electricity consumption. Sudha, the electricity consumption of 3,600 units that's a mere 300 units per month for an entire family. If you had 1 or 2 school-going students in the household, you are going to be using that kind of electricity. In fact, ironically, I qualify for this. I don't have a car. I don't use electricity. You know why? Because I keep my house under lock and key. And that under lock and key, a household is calculated as minimum 100 units. The income limit of 2.5 lakhs, that's 20,000, not for the individual person. It's for the entire family. Pensioners, older people, seniors who are receiving pension of pittances of few thousands a month are excluded from this scheme. Expressly excluded. The kind of 8 factors with cofactors and clauses and pauses. It is designed to create what we used to call in the olden days as license Raj. You make it so complicated, you make it, right. You need a certificate for everything. You have to go to somebody to certify your income. You have to go to somebody to certify your family members. You have to certify your current usage. 100 certifications. What happens with that is that you have to pay rishwat. You have to pay everywhere where you go. That is what it's going to end up. So people who can afford to pay to get certified will get the money. Mr. Stalin may as well announce it as, we will pay people with DMK cards instead of saying we will pay people with white ration cards. He may as well openly come out and say it.
Kasturi, it is so uncanny when you said, and I have an all-women team working with me, Nancy and Adrika, and they were saying exactly the same thing. They said that, you know, an award which is not given on time is an award which is denied, and you also say it, and you know, it is so uncanny. So Kasturi, I'm going to ask you one question. You know, also in the context of Karnataka and also Tamil Nadu, are governments overcommitting welfare schemes? You see, it is Stalin who, you know, it's been 2 years, he has not delivered on this, but he has delivered on 3. So let me DMK not, you know, say that you've been unfair and biased. He has. But this particular, where 1,000 rupees has to be over committed, he committed himself. Secondly, Karnataka also, so far as Annabhagya scheme is concerned. Do you think the governments are not really planning it out, just as a manifesto, part of their manifesto, and also to garner votes, they are announcing the welfare schemes and then doing it because their hands are tied, Kasturi Shankar?
Now, I'm going to go a little further and, say something that, it behooves mulling over. This is election year. Karnataka people have come to power now, so they want to show that they are a very, very efficient and functional government. So they want that optics right now. But more than that, both for Tamil Nadu and for Karnataka, 2024 is not far away. Their parliamentary elections are around the corner, and for both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, MP quota is very, very important in the longer scheme of things, because they have a stable government for the next 4 to 5 years. In Karnataka, they have 3 years. Mr. Stalin has 3 years left. That is not the issue here. They are concentrating on garnering and consolidating votes for 2024, and I think that is why they have started stretching themselves. Absolutely, it is a stretch. Nobody expects it to be a complete success, but it will be very useful in optics, because there will be one beneficiary. They will take 10 beneficiaries and have a big brouhaha, have a big celebration, have a centenary celebration of Kalaignar. We'll have a 30-day government or 90-day, 100 days of Congress government in Karnataka. They will have all these celebrations and they will show some beneficiaries. It will come in all the headlines, and then slowly they will be scuttled. They will be given a quiet and slow death. That's what I see happening.
Right. S. Venkat Narayan sir, do you think, I'm also going to ask you the same question I asked Kasturi Shankar, and she was very eloquent about the entire thing. Are governments overcommitting welfare schemes, sir? Do you think, in the context just now of Stalin saying 15th September we will start it, you know, he's named it, on his father's name, of course, and there is nothing wrong with it. But the point is that it is over. These are poor women, Mr. Venkat Narayan, you know, someone whose annual income is not more than 2.5 lakhs. These are women who must have waited for 2 years, similar to Annabhagya scheme, where you are waiting for rice. Instead, you get money, and if that money is going into if it goes into the hands of men, one had it, it may be going to something else. So don't you think there is overcommitment, and delivery is kind of very, very poor when it comes to this?
You're absolutely right, Sudha. It's very unfortunate that in our country, political parties, in the hope of capturing power, make all kinds of promises in their manifestos, and once they win elections, they forget all about implementing them. You see, here, women being offered 1,000 rupees per month, that presumes that these women are illiterate, they are uneducated, and they are poor. And to expect them to fill up any number of forms and run from place to place and bribe people to get this 1,000 rupees, in the name of Muthuvel Karunanidhi, is really pathetic. You know, I am opposed to this business of what the Prime Minister calls revenues. I mean, freebies to win elections. I would rather that these people undertake.
But you know, Mr. Venkat Narayan, Tamil Nadu has done a very good job. Yeoman service when it comes to welfare schemes. It's not Revadi. There I am a South Indian and a Tamil. Whether it was Jayalalitha, MGR, Jayalalitha, even Kalaignar, all of them have done, a good job. Today someone can stand and say Revdi, etc. They were the ones who started the midday meal scheme, and also, giving Tali gold for women who were getting married, the cradle ceremony. Let me come back to you. Salem Dharanidharan, who's the spokesperson for the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, is also joining it. Can you hear me, Dharanidharan? Hi.
Yes, I can hear you very well. Yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
I want to ask you the next talking point. Why did Stalin delay the Kalaignar, Magalir, Urimai, Thittam, scheme? What was the reason for delaying it by 2 years, Dharanidharan?
See, any point in the manifesto, I think there is no, since we are not supposed to do it immediately, right? Though our leadership within the 2 years time managed to fulfill 80% of the manifesto promises that we had made. In fact, we also went a step ahead and announced schemes that are not in the manifesto, such as Urimai Thittam, that is doling out 1,000 rupees for government school girls joining college. And secondly, non-Mudulan scheme, that is skilling of students in government school as well as in government colleges. So we also announced schemes that are not mentioned in the manifesto. And you have to look at where all this comes from. When Tamil Nadu had a best finances in 2011, under specifically on Edappadi, Tamil Nadu's finances deteriorated 2016 and 2021. Tamil Nadu's revenue deficit was minus 60,000 crores, and immediately after DMK took power after 10 years gap, there was really bad COVID wave for about 3-4 months. And you have to also remember that ADMK was not able to pay pension to governmental staff, and that's why they increased the retirement of governmental staff. But within 1 year, we managed to reduce fiscal deficit by 7,000 and next year by 30,000, and then managed to fulfill 80% of the poll promises, right? And once the finances have normalized, we have introduced this scheme because it is going to cost the most. Compared to the other state governments.
Dharanidharan, I heard you out. Dharanidharan, I remember very well doing stories. Stalin had said within 100 days. I can show you, maybe get those speeches from archives. 100 days he said. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Dharanidharan. 100 days doesn't mean 100th day. It's you are running a government. It's not a joke. Maybe he said it. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Please listen to me. But 2 years is way too long. Then you say that always, let me tell you that Tamil Nadu's health, so far as financial health is concerned, it's one of the best. Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, these three have always done well. If you have a revenue deficit, Dharanidharan, it is not new news. It's always been there. We can go into GST payments, etc., etc. I am just asking you one thing. There are more women voters in Tamil Nadu. Number one, I am talking like a politician. Number two, as a woman, I think these are very, very marginalized women. Your party talks about those who are marginalized. Your party talks about Samutvam. Your party talks about equality towards women. Why was it delayed? These are women, 2.5 lakhs per annum. Dharanidharan, someone's got to kidding me, This isn't for women like me, and I'm including myself, privileged as it were. These are extremely poor women. So I'm asking you to just say, hey, everything cannot be, done at the same time. We delayed it. Why was it delayed to such an extent is I'm asking you on behalf of all the women of Tamil Nadu.
See, the first and foremost is, I think, observation that Tamil Nadu finances are always bad is not true. In 2011, debt to GDP of Tamil Nadu was about 17%.
Okay.
In 2021, when they demitted office, ADMK, it was 28%. According to our RBI, permissive limit is only 17%. And if it was under 20%, the state is doing really well. So it was 28%. So those things also have to be taken into consideration. And earlier speaker, when he spoke, he said, freebies is the reason for Tamil Nadu's financial mess. Definitely not. In fact, if you look, Tamil Nadu's per capita GDP was same as that of UP in 1960s. But by 2011, it was 3 times that of UP, the per capita GDP. That is simply because of welfare schemes. And the reason why Tamil Nadu's finances was ruined is not because of welfare schemes, which we call as freebies, but because of leakage. For example, Tamil Nadu's revenue in terms of GDP used to be 11% until 2014, 2015. But after that, I don't know what happened. The revenue reduced by 2%. And 2021, we saw that there were 2.5% loss. So Tamil Nadu GDP is about 20.
Right, but Dharanidharan, you still haven't answered.
I'm coming. It's very important. It's important for me to get where I'm getting. So 24 lakh crores, 2.5% is about how much? About 70,000 crores. So we were plugging in all the leakages so that we could actually dole out these, because the finances were in a mess. It was not feasible, right? And though the Chief Minister said we never anticipated such a bad COVID wave, and also only after we took charge, we realized that there were more bad deaths hidden.
So basically you didn't plan well. That's what I'm asking. No, your intent was very good, like Mr. Siddaramaiah, you know, very good intent, but it's just total mismanagement, no? And this is about the hopes and aspirations of poor people, not people like me. I can go elsewhere and maybe buy rice. But these are, you know, very, very poor people, Dharnidharan, and that's why I'm saying it's almost like denial. No, I will speak. No, listen, Dharnidharan, I have said, given the devil its due where it's required. But I'm a journalist first, and I have to see 2 years. I've been speaking to women, you know. Let me come back to you, Dharnidharan. Thank you for your patience. Kasturi Shankar, let me bring you in. You know, this criteria which has been there, you know, now the criteria, let's put up that graphic plate. How can Stalin decide on the criteria of women 2 years later is the question I'm asking. And also, if I can request, Nancy, can you just put up that, you know, wo jo criteria wala graphic plate hai, wo dal do please. What is the criteria? Annual income less than 2.5 lakhs, etc., etc. Kasturi, 2 years later, it seems like an afterthought. See, if I have a scheme, I mean, do you think that it will take, okay, you can say I will start on 15th of September, 2 years later. Fine, I give you that. But even the criterion should be so delayed. Look at this. Domestic power consumption, which you spoke about. Also, what is the method to the madness? It will be online, of course.
Even wetlands, Thogai, in rural areas, a lot of people have wetland and dry land. It is non-arable, but they have land in their name. Families have land that is not really producing any income actually. That is the bitter truth about Tamil Nadu. Sometimes we have too much rain, sometimes we have no rain at all. So these kind of land criteria should not be used. You should be getting agricultural income as a criterion, not the land holding as a criterion. We can keep on, you know, at the end of the day, as you said, what is happening is, they announced the promise, they gave the promise, they came to power, now they are making up rules as they go. That is what it is. Now we've got these 8 criteria. Tomorrow they will figure out something else and then add even more clauses to this. Who's to say they won't do it? It is changing already. Even before the first 1,000 rupees has been given, we've got all these rules to follow. It is a nightmare to get people to sign on that affidavit form. You need 8 different signatures. At least 5 different government officials will be involved. How much rishwat will you be giving to get a measly 1,000 rupees per month? It's heartbreaking. And you're asking about 2 years delay. Let me remind you that the DMK's even bigger poll promise was liquor containment, liquor control. They said their first signature. As soon as they come into power, if I become chief minister, the first signature I will put is to close Tasmac stores near public places of public places like schools and temples. The first signature I will put will be to limit liquor consumption in the state. That is what Mr. Stalin said. 2 years down the line, we have increased targets. We have a minister who is sitting in hospital as a result of a 220 crore scam in liquor. Right. So let us not even talk about delays and promises. We have to thank our lucky stars that something is actually get going. You know, it's a farce. Everything else is an act. You know, Mr. Dharnidharan proudly said they have fulfilled 80% of their poll promises. Actually, I would like to add that they have fulfilled a lot more than what they did not promise also. Whatever they did not promise in their manifesto, all that we are seeing in the state today. So to insult the women of Tamil Nadu, very openly put, my uncle who has a car, who has a 4 lakh income, who has a professional income, who has a house, who has property, has a ration card in his wife's name, and his wife is going to collect the 1,000 rupees, while the maid that works in their house is not eligible.
Look at this. Look at this. This is what I said. You know, Kasturi, you nailed it. I mean, this is what I mean. Already you see that, you know, that lady is going to collect 1,000 rupees because the maid is not eligible. I'm saying that the criterion is so, I think it is like so ridiculous. First of all, it may be ridiculous. Secondly, to kind of meander through that, I will have a headache and say, "Enak paisa ve vena and vittidu Sami. I do not want your money. I am very good sitting at home."
The rich will get richer. Ultimately, a lot of people will be getting the money on paper, whereas all the money will be siphoned off into some politicians and councillors and ward members'
right.
pockets. The disbursement system is going to benefit. The people, I don't think, are going to benefit.
Mr. Venkat Narayan, I am going to ask you now, slightly that let's give the benefit of the doubt to Stalin perhaps. The talking point is, why did Muka Stalin delay the Kalaignar Magalir Urimai Thittam scheme? According to you, how do you read this? Is it because there was a huge deficit? He thought that, let me do it, later. That's my question number one. Question number two is, will it not impact the DMK's prospects going forward? Because the women are more than the men, and the women can actually swing elections, Mr. Venkat Narayan. So, first is, why did he delay it? According to you, what was the reason?
Well, I think the DMK spokesman was making the point that when they came to power, they discovered the economy was in a pretty bad shape and they wanted things to get better so that they could introduce this scheme. But as you said, Stalin himself has said that he is expecting 1.5 crores of women to apply for this. That means there are 1.5 crores of illiterate women in Tamil Nadu, and they will feel cheated when they go to exercise their franchise in the Lok Sabha elections next year, which is barely, next election is barely 9 months away from now. So, they'll say these guys promised to give us this money and they did not. Why should we vote for them? They might vote for somebody else. So this is, it becomes counterproductive because the promise made by Stalin, it takes him more than 2 years to work out a formula, and the kind of complicated formula it is that these illiterate women are expected to go to half a dozen offices, bribe people, get them to sign affidavits or whatever and submit documents. I don't know how many months of running around government offices they'll have to do, and they're poor and illiterate women. I mean, how do you expect those women to understand all these complicated rules and regulations, and all for the sake of just 1,000 rupees a month? I think this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Selan Dharnidharan is with us also. Dharnidharan, I want to ask you that, have you figured out the method to this madness? I'll tell you why. Because in neighboring Karnataka, when they were doing Graha Lakshmi, the minister found that it's getting to be very complicated. So, for registration, the date was shifted from early June to mid-June, so on and so. Because it's I'm not judging you. I'm not judging Tamil Nadu. But the process, it's a beast. Have you figured out the methodology to this at least?
See, that's what I'm saying. See, you can't compare two states. Tamil Nadu ranks number one when it comes to delivering public services in the country. And we have, since like 1960s, have had schemes that other states in India had looked up to, right? So it's all assumption that they're not going to get the signs, they're going to struggle with documentation. What we are saying is, in this digital era, we have shown the way earlier, we'll also show now how it could be done at ease. See, these are all based on assumptions. Only when if it rolls out, if there's a problem, then you can say, no, that's a problem. But how can you say, even before we roll it out, that no, there will be hiccups.
How are you going? Dharnidharan, I'm asking you, considering you're always very to the point, I'm asking you, have you thought out of the process of roll? I am not saying that give me all of it in bullet points. How will you do it, sir? You have a rural population, you have population who may not, I may have this phone I have today, in everyone's hand there is a phone, but how to operate this particular, maybe I can call, send a voice note, but how am I going to meander through this entire thing to get that 1,000 rupees per month, sir? I am asking you, is there any plan that you put forth?
See, of course, as I said, there will be finger point and Aadhaar-based linkages and so on and so forth. And I think the party cadres will also assist them in getting the documents, because the cadres have to face the people every day. It's not like it's going to go into the cadres' pockets. If you look, there's a book written by Narayan, Delivering Public Service in India. I think he was the former advisor to the Prime Minister of India, where he says the DMK and ADMK and two parties, cadres actually work in parallel with the governmental officials in getting the public services done so that it reaches the people's hands. So I'm very certain that the cadres will work along with the government officials in getting it done, and it is not just now. Even in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, that has been the case.
Right. Now, Dharanidharan, I don't hold a brief for any political party, but you know, I've gone to Twitter and I've seen how Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin included has, you know, taken these jibes at the central dispensation and said, oh, where is that 15 lakhs that you were saying you will deposit in people's account? What happened to that? Who are you to comment? Now that's whataboutery. But I'm saying if that process itself has failed, you know, then how do you expect, you know, your thing to, because both are driven by a process, no, it's not driven mainly only by intent. Good intent, fine, but there has to be a process about it.
See, BJP never initiated, it remained as a plain electoral rhetoric that they said in 2013. Did they even announce any of the budgets? No. Did they even go a step above that? No. So here we have announced in the budget, we have given a set of rules which we think would work very well, and keeping the finances in mind, we want to deliver it only to people who need it. I'm saying 70%. People making like 4 lakhs a year, that is about 30,000 rupees a day, do not need one more additional 1,000. And this money is not going to go into DMK's pocket. This money is going to go to people in other welfare schemes. The money we save from this scheme, we will have other schemes. For example, the scheme in which we donate 1,000 rupees to government school girls joining college, we spent only about 70 crores. So even if we are able to save about 3,000 to 4,000 crores, we are going to use it for other schemes that can uplift the downtrodden. See,
like
world,
what schemes? I'll be very, if you do one, like when you did free bus passes, it was appreciated by women all around. They said, you know, thank God we don't have to. More and more women started, you know, taking the buses. The public transport system became a success story, like it is becoming a success story in Karnataka. Private bus operators are very, very miffed with this. But the point is that, you know, you don't seem to be having any plan in order. Kasturi Shankar, would you like to respond to what Salem Dharanidharan just now said?
Even Mr. Salem Dharanidharan, I think, felt a little delicate saying 2.5 lakhs per annum. So he quickly upped the benchmark to 4 lakhs per annum. I think even he feels that maybe 4 lakhs is an acceptable benchmark and not 2.5 lakhs. So straight away there, and I was quite amused when he was fumbling to think of some other scheme that they will announce in the future. It was very amusing. I have to go. I'm in the middle of an event, so I have to go now. But I have two things to say. Number one, Sudha, you mentioned the bus pass scheme. I love it. We all love it, except it also came with clauses. Not all buses are free. There are designated buses only. Those are the normal buses and not the special buses, not the fast buses, not the limited stop buses. Very few buses are actually available for women to travel free in Tamil Nadu. It is not the same scheme as in Karnataka, where if you are female, then you are entitled to travel in a bus. No questions asked. That is not the scheme in Tamil Nadu. It's a very restricted and actually quite a failure scheme in Tamil Nadu. Women are not able to wait for that one bus to go to their daily job. So they end up paying. Also on so-called free buses, they end up paying the bus staff. So all these malpractices are happening in Tamil Nadu, number one. And number two, with the Karnataka Bhagya Anna Bhagya scheme, now they have not been able to procure rice, and definitely it's a cat and mouse game between the central BJP center and the Congress state. And in this, the ultimate result is going to be that they are going to give money that will go not to the rice store, but it will go straight to the liquor store. This is going to happen in Tamil Nadu as well. With all these complicated stipulations in place, when they finally see the money, it is going to be the man of the house who's going to take it. And I think the government is betting on that. You asked about deficit. The government is betting that they can recycle the money they give their women back to the liquor store that very night. I think that's what they're betting on.
Kasturi, very well spoken, and thank you. Wish you could stay longer, but I'm not going to stop you because you have an event to go to. Thank you very much, Kasturi Shankar. Mr. Venkat Narayan, so the thing is that you as well as Kasturi Shankar, all of you, I mean, I'm including myself also, we think that 1,000 rupees is pittance really. It's pittance. Then 2.5 lakhs is also, it is really sad if you look at the criteria. Number 3, it's delayed by 2 years. Number 4 is, there is no method to how this is going to be actually formulated. So overall, do you think it's a really, you don't introduce this scheme at all? Maybe, you could have just skipped this. I would have felt as a poor person, maybe I can't feel as a poor person, but if I were in that, I would say I do not want this at all, because if you have to run around like this, office to office, like Kasturi was saying, there is going to be malpractice. No one say there will not be. One has seen enough of this country. What do you think, sir? Very, very ill thought out, you think?
Yes, I think so. And also, what is pathetic about the whole scheme is that 1,000 rupees, and you expect people to do the running around, and we don't know how much of that money is going to be eaten up by corrupt bureaucrats or clerks in government offices and all that. It would have been much better if the government had announced that we are going to directly transfer this money to the bank accounts of these women, and 1,000 rupees a month. No self-respecting woman who is, earning some money would take the trouble of going and applying for this. They should simply invite applications from needy women and then check some basic checks and then make sure this 1,000 rupees goes to her bank account as a direct beneficiary, like the Government of India schemes are doing. That's much better than expecting these illiterate women to do the running around and go through all these hassles and which might lead to a hell of a lot of corruption and so on and so forth.
Right. Salem Dharnidharan, I want to ask you, you remember when the whole COVID thing, it burst upon all of us and across the world, and of course in India, to get vaccinated, there would be queues and queues. There was kind of confusion galore. In Chennai, there used to be camps, I remember, weekend camps where you did a brilliant job, but then still doctors would say, and also IAS officers were saying, it is only confusion. People we do not know where to get. Don't you think, first question is, 1,000 rupees is too less? And the 2.5 lakhs per annum, I am harping on this, yes, again and again. It's rather a pittance, and don't you think that at the inflation rate today, Takali, that is tomato, is actually selling at 140 rupees per kg, and everyone deserves to eat it. Oil is also expensive. If you look at household expenses, petrol, don't even ask. You think 1,000 rupees is really a good, is it even a decent amount of money? Dharnidharan, can you hear me? All right, I'm also being joined by Vice President of BJP, Tamil Nadu, Narayan Tirupati. Narayan, what is this entire scheme that we are talking about today, Kalaignar, Magalir, Urimai, Thittam? It is so pathetic, I think, I mean, 1,000 rupees per a month, then your eligibility is 2.5 lakhs per annum. It is a pittance. The thing is that I think that most governments, and it's not about politics, it's about poor people, Narayan, that they seem to be overcommitting themselves, whether it is Annabhagya scheme in Karnataka or this 2 years later, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam says 15 September we will roll it out. But this is a result. What do you think is the real reason, Narayan, for such a long delay?
Real reason is that they want to hide that the government has done very badly. The real reason is that except for liquor, this government has not bothered to, earn revenue out of anything. No industrial development. So absolutely there is no money. So if they say that they don't have money, then we will ask them to get out. That is why they are doing all these tricks, asking the people to suffer and making the people suffer. And they say in this EWS, they are against EWS, but now they are coming with the EWS in this issue, and that is okay for them. This is not okay for them.
Yeah,
So
but you know,
DMK is in all sorts of confusions.
but Udayanidhi Stalin's tweet, I'm sure you've read it, where he says, where is the 15 lakhs, that you had promised central government, Mr. Modi?
Who promised?
He said,
promised?
9 years ago,
Sudha,
those who
promised?
deceived, he said, I would like to question the BJP as to whether any one electoral promise made by them has been fulfilled. These are all the Stalin and also Udayanidhi Stalin, they are asking you. So what do you think apples and oranges? I mean, why don't they just give the poor women? They should increase the amount.
No. First of all, why you are so tense? Who promised that they will deposit 15 lakhs? Who promised that?
They said 15 lakhs, through their bank accounts will be deposited.
Who promised? Who said?
They are saying the central, Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi.
He did not say. We have very clearly said. He never said that. And you people are lying. And in fact, I told today morning, it is not only a lie. It is not only a bunch of lies. DMK is a factory of lies. Yesterday, Mr. Stalin is saying that the BJP had promised 2 crore jobs every month. That means what? 24 crore jobs every year. That means 240 crores in 10 years. What is this? Who will say like that? So DMK...
I'm very shocked because these are poor women, Narayan. There are more, forget about politics, I keep saying this, but I'm, forced to say this. There are more women in Tamil Nadu, but I want to keep the politics aside. These are poor women. First you delayed by 2 years and then you make the eligibility so complicated, Narayan.
Yes, definitely. They will plan accordingly that only the DMK families will get this. That is their game plan. They will distribute to DMK people. That is what they have been doing. And now also, they will take from the exchequer's money, they will give it to DMK people. It will not be distributed to, as you rightly said, the poor women. It will be distributed only to the DMK people. So, we know that DMK has always done this. Where is the promise DMK made that they will, the education loan will be waived off? Whether they have paid to the banks? They neither paid to banks nor they have, they are giving money to the students.
Right.
Students are not paying to the bank. Bank is not able to give money to students because so many students have failed in repaying it.
Right.
So DMK is known for this. And now also they have done this. They said initially what Mr. Stalin, you just go through what Mr. Stalin said. He said he will give 1,000 rupees every month to all the women, the head of the family. That is what he said.
Yes.
You cannot change that. Now you fix some criteria.
Above 21. Yeah, eligibility is there. Yeah, I know. And I wish, Narayan, you had, I know you were busy, but it would have been wonderful to have you on our show even earlier. I've completely run out of time. Thanks are due to Kasturi Shankar, Mr. R. Venkat Narayan, and Narayan Tirupati, and Salem Dharanidharan. This is what we were talking about today. Stalin's women's scheme delayed. And like I said, this may come back to bite the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam because these are poor women. They were hoping for this money. It's been 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. 2 years have lapsed and now there is an eligibility criteria which is extremely complicated. So like I said, DMK may have to face the ire and the fire in the coming Lok Sabha elections. At 5 p.m. every weekday, you will get such stories based on the south of India by me, Sudha Sadanan. All the stories which are really sizzling, which concern you and us. But for all the other updates and news and analysis, this is your destination as always, News9 Live. Keep watching.
He thought he could outlast us. And 1 year later, the evidence is right here in this